Hey there everybody, welcome back to Triage Gaming. I am Balmong4, and today we finally did it. It's time to give away the Pot of Prosperity. Now before we get to the actual picking the winner using the YouTube random comment picker, we have a little Q&A. I think we have 12 people, but I think there's more than 12 questions. Some people asked more than one. So we're going to get through all of those. You'll see me looking over to my side here because that's where my screen is, where I have all of that up. I didn't have my dual monitor up, so unfortunately I am going to just be using the one screen over here, so you'll see me looking over here quite a bit. So let's get into the Q&A, then the comment picker. That'll be the video today, guys. Alright guys, so first looking over at the questions. First off, Smog UKA. Alright, his question is one he asked in a previous video. Favorite top 3 formats. Honestly, I do have a top 3. I know he mentioned that I can decide on my favorites. You know, it's easy to give a few formats. To go in order when they came out, Android, which is just when Jinzo ran rampant. Yada, Chaos, I kind of combined the two because to me they felt like one big format. Even after they banned Yada though, it was like, okay, cool, you still run Chaos, whatever. And then Teledad. Those 3 are really my top favorite formats. And the reasons why should become pretty clear as this continues on. Android was one of the ones where it was, you know, will be referenced later on, another one. But Android was something that really is where my first experience of competitive regional level play took place. Yada Chaos is where I really took another step forward. And Teledad is where I think I reached my pinnacle as a player, or around that period. But let's move on, guys. So that is the first question. Second one, Benji Boy. Would love to know how you got into Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first place. Well, and I don't know how many people will believe this, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Before it was here in America. Funny enough, when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh!, I had an aunt. She worked in Japan, traveled in Japan. Obviously, we already got a bunch of Japanese things here. She knew I was big into a lot of Japanese things. And so I actually was brought back and got cards. I thought the game looked cool, really interesting. I couldn't read a lot of it. I could read some of it because I knew some translations, but not a lot. And that's the first time I really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Was I was like, man, look at these cards. They're so cool. They look so awesome. And then, of course, when they came out here, I only jumped straight in. When Legend of Blue Eyes came out, I wanted all the cards I got that I saw as the Japanese cards. So I actually got a bunch of packs. I got for a Christmas present, I think I got a box. And, it was for my birthday, actually. It was my birthday, which is in October, I got a box. But I really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Before it really came here, when it was still new in Japan, and it was super. I thought it looked amazing. The artwork, the cards, the fact that the only card game I really knew of here, I think outside of Pokemon, was Magic the Gathering. And you know, seeing these Magic the Gathering cards with 3 and 10 attack, and you know, I think the biggest one at the time was like 12 or 13, something like that. Anyways, it's like I see these Pokemon cards, and even the lowest one, a 1-star monster, is so weak. It has 300 attack, and I just thought, that'd kick any Magic the Gathering monster's ass. I mean, honestly, right? And so that's where I kind of fell in love. The art style, you know, it was Japanese styled, it was anime styled, but they all look so cool. And in the Japanese packs, I did pack a Dark Magician, and it was a card that I fell in love with, and it's why I've always been a Dark Magician fan. It's one of those reasons, you know, the debate between Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, or Red Eyes could even include that. For me, it was always Dark Magician because it was really the first thing I saw where I love the color purple, and here's this sorcerer in purple robes, you know, and I thought he just looked absolutely amazing, and I fell in love with it. And then when the card came out here, I just wanted to go because I was like, oh, I want to see these cards in English, and I kind of just got hooked. But you know, yeah, that's how I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first place. But moving on, I mean, I should actually say this. Mog, Benji, those were great questions. Really great questions. So moving on to Cameron Cooper. Where do I see Yu-Gi-Oh in the next 5 years? And read more. What's your favorite set? Okay, where do I see Yu-Gi-Oh in the next 5 years? As a returning player, this is very difficult because when I left, Yu-Gi-Oh! Exceeds were introduced, and I knew that they were eventually going to add something. I knew they were going to have to expand the game board. But I left at that point because a lot of my friends were playing Magic the Gathering. I wanted to go join them. I kind of wanted to follow. So I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As much. Well, pretty much permanently. Well, not permanently, but I stopped playing. And, yeah, from there, I played Magic for a short while and eventually got kind of bored of that. Tried Vanguard. Didn't really stick. Buddy Fight was a game I played for quite a while. It was fun, but it just didn't take off. And, yeah. But going to see where you see Yu-Gi-Oh! Honestly, knowing that now they put pendulum zones, retracted that back, now they have the link zones and, the extra monster zones. I honestly think Yu-Gi-Oh! The way I see in the next 5 years, I don't see any big changes. Maybe they introduce a new card type. I'm thinking maybe this card type has something to do with, I don't know, maybe expanding the field zone or maybe actually making something that is a removed from play type or something. Like something that actually works directly with the remove from play, but it's a whole separate thing. I mean, next 5 years, I don't see too many changes in this fact that things are so combo heavy and everything. Yeah, you can play anti-meta. You can, really try to play a control, which I've always really enjoyed as control. But next 5 years, honestly, a new card type, definitely, I see being introduced. I see the game continuing its current control/combo heavy ways. I don't think you'll ever be able to take the game back to its more basic beat 'em up, or lucky draw, or, the early combos where it was like as long as you didn't have brick, you could maybe pull off a little combo. That's talking way early on. I don't think we'll ever get back to that. I don't think it'll ever be where it's something where one card can save your life with how many negates are here. There would have to be such a drastic ban list that I feel like, and restriction that I think the game will kind of stay the way it is. And I think maybe they introduce a new card type or a new zone. And I think that I could see a official zone for like remove from play. And then maybe have something called, maybe like Extra Realm, where it's cards that can be played at a certain cost, but it's a heavy cost, but the cards are really powerful that maybe can't be negated or something, so there's always an out. I don't know. Like, I think that would be kind of interesting. Maybe that's a way they could balance some of the negate issues that I know some people are having, but for me, that's where I see it in the next 5 years is a new type of card, as well as just continuing the trend of combo control decks either being pretty much always being there and being the way you play. I don't think you'll ever go back to toolboxes or stuff like that. Favorite set though, IOC, Invasion of Chaos, because it really was the set that, even though I'll say when it comes to competitive, Android was the thing that got me first to that level. Really, and I mean really when it comes down to it, Invasion of Chaos introduced a card straight to me, and this is no joke. First pack, I got Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy at the end. No, I'm not even lying about that. And that card won me so many games that it was the era where I felt like, man, I could do competitive. And that really is something that it's a set that changed my perspective of Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's my favorite set. Not to mention introduce some of my favorite monsters. Chaos Sorcerer, both the Envoys. I mean, I think the Spirit Boards messages came out on that, and I do like messing around with those back in the day, even though they kind of were bad. But, I mean, yeah, Cameron, that was a great question, and hopefully you actually enjoyed the answer. Moving on from there, NOS 1110. What's my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype? It's a tie between Monarchs and Blackwings. That's just because I have the long history with them. Monarchs was because not only were they always around, they were really helpful, and I actually used Frog Monarchs or Frognarchs for a while. And Blackwing is because Blackwing's where I saw my most success as a player at the pro level. Well, I should say pro level, but wasn't ever a pro. I saw it at qualifying for nationals, I think, once playing Blackwings, but other than that, just getting a lot of high-end qualifier while they were still legal. But yeah, those are my favorite archetypes. Modern archetypes, I love Drytron. I do love Virtual World. And I love anything that's super cutesy. Like anime girl waifu style cutesy. So Dolces I'm really interested in. I like the prank kids. I think they're really adorable and think they're pretty cool. That's why I'm glad I'm building it. And then Dragon Maids are something that, yeah, I wouldn't mind a real life Dragon Maid. But no, I mean, when it comes down to it, favorite archetypes top 2 no matter what, Monarchs, Blackwings. I don't think anything will top that until something changes my perspective of Yu-Gi-Oh again or gives me that boost, you know. Like if I take a deck that I actually can qualify nationals and go, which that one time I didn't, I think that might be a new archetype that would be my favorite because they're important to me as a player and my growth as a player. But Nas, hopefully that is a good enough answer for you. All right, moving on to Ray Knight Gaming. Top 5 Yu-Gi tubers. Oh, okay. Let me see. Number 1 will be MST TV. Nishi and Tombox is my favorite Yu-Gi tuber currently. After that, okay, this is tough. I want to try to keep them in order of who I watch the most, who I enjoy the most, and so I really want to make sure I nail this. So I think MST TV, so Nishi and Tombox, or I should put Tombox before Nishi, but are my favorite. Second would be Rev Cards. I think I've just been inspired by his series to really try to make my own renditions of them. After then, it'd be Team APS. Then I think it'd be the Kali Effect, and then I think Simo. I think those would be my top 5, honestly. No matter what, I know Tombox and Nishi and Team APS, they break down things easily. Anytime I watch any of those their videos, I completely understand what they're talking about. Rev is because he inspires me as a content creator to go look at things and really try to, just try to, take in, try not to better it, but to try to put my own spin and maybe try to do something, because he just looks like he sounds like he has so much fun. I know. It could also be because Nibiru is funny as hell and they just play off each other perfectly. Team APS is because each of them have their own personalities. It's amazing that the group can really put together. But I mean, anytime any of them get up, you feel like, man, you really want to pay attention. I know on Team APS Plus, which is something I really enjoy, I like when they just go on rants. I kind of just like that. It's just them talking from their heart, and it's not always you got to take it so serious. These are just people playing a game we all love, talking one-on-one, and even though it's to everybody, it's one-on-one, and I enjoy that. Yeah, Kali Effect. I only recently started watching him, but I mean, he's just, you feel like you know him. You sit there and you're just like, man, you could see yourself hanging out with that guy. And then, not to mention with him getting personal about some of the health stuff and his family stuff, and you connect with him, and it makes you really not only like him as a person, but you want to watch him as a duelist, and and then last, Simo. I think it's mainly because Simo comes up with great things. He also seems to have that main character, that protagonist luck at times, and it's kind of like you root for him, and then when he loses, you kind of are like, well, not every main character can win every game. So yeah, not to mention his progression series is something that has inspired me to do my own rendition, but I can't really launch it, so until I find someone who's willing to do something long term, and it's a whole different take on the progression, I think, in a way. But yeah, no, I think that would be my top 5 YouTubers. Hopefully, Ray Knight, that was a good enough answer. Let's move on from there. Jurgis, I think it is Jurgis. What do you think is the best current booster pack, the cheaper ones? Are you asking me what I think the best pack is that's cheap? Packs, I don't know. Packs are kind of all the same price for the most part for the current ones. If you're going for boxes, I actually think for deck building, like building a deck, I mean, when it comes to... that's actually pretty tough. Hold on. So, okay, I'm trying to think of if I can... Hold on. What do you think is the best current booster packs, the cheaper ones? Okay, so let me go about this a different way. Let me yeah, hold on. Okay, let me approach it this way. Outside of deck building sets, which obviously you can try to build a deck no matter how good or bad it is. For instance, you know, you can take Sartic or Ogdoratic or Sofa Chord. I personally prefer Sofa Chord, even though they're not the better of the three. I personally like the style and the things behind the deck. A deck building set obviously will always help you build a deck. Now, if we're looking at what ones are the cheap right now, Genesis Impact is very cheap. I see it online for really cheap to buy a box, and you can pretty much get a whole set for the Drytron. It has some of the cards for the Live Trends, and and that deck is something I really like. I like the art style. Not to mention there's a Shark Girl, and she's adorable. But yeah, for me, I think right now, if you want to build a deck and you want to try to build a strong core cheap, and you're buying boxes or pack, I think Genesis Impact may be the best. Not return on buck, but what I'm saying is, like, I think if you're already going to buy a box and you want to try to build a deck, I think Drytron, because of the low rarity and everything, is one of the easiest. Until you obviously have to add the other cards like Megaliths and stuff. But those are pretty cheap to buy single. Obviously, the newest packs are always going to be, I think, the lowest price because there's just so much quantity of it. But for right now, if I had to pick a specific set, it would be Genesis Impact. And that's mainly because of Drytron and cute waifus. All right. Hopefully the answer makes sense. I kind of didn't know exactly what you meant. So hopefully that, reading it, I kind of had a thought of it the first time I commented in response to it. And yeah. So all right, next one is Nightmare Child Yunen? Okay. What is your favorite casual deck, favorite meta deck, and favorite troll deck? Okay, I'm going to have to take this from past experiences. Modern, I only have Drytron, Virtual World Hand Loop, Dragon Link, and then I'm building Prank Kids, obviously, through the challenge. Those are the only decks I currently have. So those are all kind of meta-ish. So let me go off of favorites. If we're going overall, favorite casual deck, anything with Exodia. And the reason I'll explain it here, and hopefully this makes sense to you guys. I told you earlier in one of the other questions, I got a Legend of Blue Eyes box, right? Opened it, great. I opened a box, awesome. The first card I get out of the box is Exodia's head. Throughout other packs and everything, I collected Exodia. And even though this will be mentioned later, because I know one of the questions had something to do about like first deck. Well, that's technically not my first deck, but whatever you can throw together in a deck is your first deck. But yeah, there's another question later on. I think the next one covers that. But my favorite casual deck would be an Exodia deck that I ran at the beginning when there was no ban list, and so it was 3 Swords of Revealing Light, 3 of each Exodia piece, Trap Hole, what was any of the 2K Defenders, 3 Monster Reborns. It was just like 3 Pot of Greed, 3 of every good card, and then it pretty much was just try to stall, and I just had so much fun because anytime you can Exodia someone, is just fun. So for casual deck, I think that was my favorite one back in the day, just because if you ever opened with like all 3 pot of greeds, or you opened up the broken combo, it's like, oh, pot of greed. Oh, I pot of greed into a pot of greed. Oh, look, I pot of greed into another pot of greed. Oh, and now I Swords of Revealing Light for 3 turns. Good luck. You set trap holes. Oh, your monsters are gone. Oh, you set your 2K body defenders and you hide behind them. And then the moment your opponent actually summons something, you trap hole it. It's like, oh, you just spent 2 of your monsters, summoned blue eyes. Sorry, it's gone. So I think that was my favorite casual deck, just because there was nothing to restrict me. Favorite meta deck, Blackwings. And the reason Blackwings is so important to me is, as I said, it's the highest I ever got as a player. It was, I think, the pinnacle where I've reached, which isn't saying much because it wasn't a winning, I never won like the national championships. I did really great at qualifiers the whole time I used Blackwings. But yeah, I think meta, it was the most important to me as a player and was the highest I ever reached as a player. It was also one that no matter what, I felt like my deck building skills were at its best at that point. Because even though we all can say we net decked, I always try to, anytime building net decks or anything back then, I always tried to do my own thing, or always like specific cards that weren't there. Like early on, a lot of people didn't like Solemn Judgment. I was a player who always, because I only had 2 copies, but I ran 2 copies of Solemn Judgment as a get out of jail. Oh my God, something bad is going to come. I need a Solemn Judgment it. So I was one of those players that ran Solemn Judgment early on when a lot of people didn't. So although I will also say favorite meta deck was also, if I had to choose a very close second, was Chaos. Mainly because as a player, as I mentioned in another one, in a previous question earlier, packing Chaos Emperor and Warrior of the End allowed me to really take that level, as I kind of can see what this deck can do. And, so it was one of those cards that inspired me and really took me to want to take tournaments and stuff more serious and wanted to become a better duelist. And that kind of peaked with Blackwings, where I really was looking at strategies, counters, and usually I build my deck to work, have fun, and try to win. But I didn't always go out of the box. Early on, it was kind of like, oh, big monsters go pow. And, it was kind of like Chaos was the first time I thought of strategy and stuff. So that was another one that I think could be tied up there with Blackwings. Favorite troll deck. Anything that can try to force a draw. Anything you could take to a tournament and just screw with results. All right. Anytime it's like, oh yeah, this person drew 3 games or 2 games, or anytime you can mess with the bracket by getting a draw, I think was just great. Anytime you can troll somebody by forcing a draw, or make them feel like they don't know when it will end, but you control when it ends. Yeah. That's a self-destruct button. Bring a destruction, stuff like that. Trying to make sure both your life points constantly tick down, waiting for them to, paying Solemn Judgment to negate a bunch of stuff. Solemn, wait until they get Magical Android, let the Magical Android a bunch, and then, Ring of Destruction, something that just ends the game, where they can't stop it, and force a draw. It just, good times. Yeah, I think those are mine. So hopefully that actually answers your question. I actually do like that question, because that actually made me think. Voltage Gaming. Now, this is one I think asked about first deck. Yeah. What is your first deck, and what was your first competitive, semi-competitive deck? So first deck was just whatever I got out of Legend of Blue Eyes, threw it together. First deck I actually thought about building and not just throwing whatever cards I had in was that Exodia one I mentioned earlier about the Light Force Swords, 3 Pot of Greed, before ban list, and I could do whatever. And then, yeah, good times. 3 Pot of Greeds. Great time. Great time to be alive. First competitive, semi-competitive deck. I think why I went to tournaments and did regionals and stuff just to experience it, especially early on, like when they first set up tournaments and the hobby things at Toys R Us and everything like that, the hobby league and all that stuff. I did all that. I always went to have fun, try to get the prizes, but I really didn't care about winning or being great at it. You know, I'd build decks I thought was fun, and I throw a couple cards I know that could get me out of jam, Solemn Judgment, stuff like that. But that's talking, you know, for first deck, I think the first deck, the first competitive deck I really ever built that made me feel like I wanted to go next level, as I mentioned before, is Chaos, you know, or Yada Lock Chaos. You know, and it's just because I got the cards really early. Like first pack IRC, I did get a Envoy of the End, and that was something that boom, locked it down right away. I knew this Chaos thing was going to be powerful, and I kind of just went and tried to get everything I got. And yeah, it was the first one that I found myself winning a lot of locals. I think I took it to regionals and placed just outside of getting any tops, which kind of felt bad, but I was still kind of rather young, and a lot of people I was dueling against were rather older, so it was actually great. And you know, it was one of those things that made me wanted to take competitive a bit more serious. So I think my first competitive deck I really will say was Chaos, even though I've used other decks before that. It was just kind of toolboxy stuff, and Chaos was the first one where I felt like I really wanted to form a coherent strategy to win and try to win, and not just have fun, if that makes sense. So Voltage, I really like that question because yeah. It's something that brings back good memories for me. Mighty Leg, favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character in the OG anime. In the OG anime, okay, let's go off. I want to try to stick this. If before Battle City, it was Bakura, because I didn't know what was going on with him. You know, he had that evil ring. They threw it away, but you knew it was still there, and you knew some shit was going to happen with him, but you don't know when that shit was going to happen. And you know, yeah, I mean, I loved all the other duelists, but it was just like, I loved the duelists. I loved a lot of the characters, but I was always like, Bakura's my favorite because why? What is he doing? What is his plan? What is he secretly plotting this whole time? You know? And then Battle City, it switched to Merrick. Because with Merrick, I actually felt bad for him because, you know, as you learn his story, you realize all the things he did in the past was him just trying to have a chance at a normal life by trying to control everything because he had no control, you know. And so it was like, I have to say my favorite character, if we go by era, would be Bakura, just because I always wondered what the hell was going on with him. And I wondered if, you know, if the bad side would ever turn good, like how Yami Yugi or Tem was, or if, you know, he'd just be completely evil, which, of course, you know, spoiler, he was. You know, Merrick was then from Battle City on, I think, one of my favorites just because I was so interested, not to mention him losing him to his Yami Merrick side and all that was another interesting aspect. Although I do have to say, I really did like Pegasus, too, in Duelist Kingdom. There's just too many. There's too many good characters. But yeah, I think I'll stick with my first answer is Bakura and then Merrick. And then we're not going to talk about Rise of the Dragons. Okay, thank you, Mind Like, for the question. Moving on, Mild Sauce. How do you feel about speed duels using modern cards? I hate speed duel. I'm just going to be upfront. I hate speed duel. I tried it. I got so bored, and any times I've tried it, I got bored. I had zero interest in it. I actually don't think it was a good move at all, in my opinion. And absolutely just got bored of it in 2 seconds. So speed duel using modern cards, I just didn't like the format. I didn't think it was entertaining, fun enough, or different enough. You know, if you ask me to bring back anything, bring back Dungeon Dice Monsters. I enjoy Dungeon Dice Monsters. Give it a speed duel. Don't do it. Hopefully that answers Mild Sauce, because I really just dislike speed duel from the get-go. And so when it came down to any type of card with it, I really just dislike the format of it. So yeah, it's something not for me. If others enjoy it, cool. Hopefully they make it for them. But for me, I would never touch it. Nope. All right, thank you for the question, Miles. Let's see. Next is Pokemon Master Jason. Is Yu-Gi-Oh your favorite card game? Yu-Gi-Oh is the longest card game I've played. I'm going to be upfront with that. I played it since before it was released in the US. Well, tried to play. I kind of just do cards down based on kind of what I knew from the Japanese game. But I really didn't know. There wasn't a big horde of internet to know what was going on. I just kind of looked at the cards, had somewhat translated them, and kind of just messed with them. Then when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, I played it from day one. The moment I heard it was coming, I was excited, and yeah. So, got into Yu-Gi-Oh literally, I think the first day they launched Legend of Blue Eyes. So, is it my favorite though? Technically, no. I actually think Duel Masters deserved a better shot than it did. I feel like if Duel Masters belonged to another company outside of Wizards of the Coast, it probably could have sustained itself. But I feel like Wizards, of course, was always Magic the Gathering focused. Anytime Duel Masters did seem any increase in play, I felt like, I don't want to call it like self-sabotage, but I felt like they put their attention towards keeping other things alive, and mainly Magic, and any other game that could use a little bit of boost. They kind of just forgot about it like a stepchild or something. I personally didn't like it, but I loved Duel Masters. I mentioned Buddy Fight earlier. I really enjoyed Buddy Fight. Honestly, I think out of card games, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Duel Masters are very close. Duel Masters is because, I have a plaque somewhere. I mentioned it a couple times before in other videos. But yeah, Duel Masters was a game where I actually have a plaque. I actually won stuff. I did very well. Got very lucky with polls. Knew the game very well. Built decks that won quite easily early on. And it was something that I don't think I had much struggle mastering really quick. And it felt like the game for me. And then when it died out, of course, I never stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I would have to say Duel Masters and Yu-Gi-Oh! Share that top spot. So I can't say it's the solo favorite, but I do love Duel Masters and Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think they share the number one spot together, honestly. And then moving on to what I believe is our last question from Pokemonarch. What is your signature deck? A deck you are known for playing? Blackwings. Prior to me leaving Yu-Gi-Oh! When Exceeds first came out, or XYZ. I call it Exceeds because that was the name when it was coming out and it's stuck in my head. Honestly, anytime I see him, I say Exceed. You will never. XYZ is so foreign to me. You show me a XYZ card, I'll say Exceed, and I still do. In a duel against me, I'll say Exceed. Blackwings, and that's just because I was kind of the guy in my group that played who really did Blackwings, who anytime I could try to do Blackwings, I would pull it out. Anytime I tried to run it. Outside of that, anything Monarch related. Like I said, Frog Monarch, Chaos Monarch, etc., etc. I ran a lot of things, different Dimension Monarch. I had a lot of decks that ran Monarchs, but I think I was the Blackwing guy because I would always try to fit Blackwing in. I tried to run it when Gale was limited, but then I kind of shifted that around because Gale was such a good card. You could put it into other decks, and yeah. So I think, honestly, it was Blackwings back in the day. Today, if anyone plays me, I think the deck I'm most comfortable with playing is Drytron. But the deck I'm known for, if you ask any of my old friends, they would probably say Blackwings or Monarchs. Mostly Blackwings. Because I did love my frogs. I definitely did love my frogs. But yeah, I think it still has to be Blackwings. All right, guys. I was going to try to pick the Pokemon. Of course, thank you for the questions. I was actually going to pick the winner at midnight. It is unfortunately 12:15 a.m. So we are about 15 minutes over. But yeah, I think from now on, I may try to do another Q&A sometime soon. So if you have any questions, I'll try to save them up until maybe I have a little bit more. All right, guys, I am going to switch over really quick, and we are going to take a look at the YouTube comment picker and see who wins. Let's do it. So as you can see, 13 unique comments. If it does roll me, because I could have excluded me. Oh well, either way. Honestly, we're about to roll this thing. I hope that whoever wins really enjoys Pot of Prosperity. So here we go. Start the ruffle, pick a random winner. And it is going, and it is me. Okay, yeah, hold on. Like I said, if it was me, I'd flip it over. So, okay, let's try this one more time. And it is Benji Boy. For some reason, my screen switched off, and I could not see. It is Benji Boy, guys. You probably saw that straight away. For some reason, my screen went black. Oh, it's because I hovered over Discord. I mean, not Discord, OBS. So, Benji, you have won Pot of Prosperity. I'll be contacting you probably before this video goes out. Benji Boy, congratulations on winning the Pot of Prosperity. Should already be on its way for you. Hopefully you enjoy the card. And yeah, guys. So if you made it to the end, I know this was kind of long. My Q&A went on a little while. I kind of got ranty. The giveaway is kind of short in comparison. But I want to ask you guys, what do you think about the next giveaway? I'm not going to do it just yet. It's going to be a little bit. But let me know what you think down below about maybe what I should try to give away next giveaway. Comment down below what you think. You know, comment maybe what type of challenges I should maybe try to do to give it away. Maybe specific cards. Try to be realistic, guys. Let's not say play set of Lightning Storm, because that's not happening. I don't even own a Lightning Storm. So yeah. We're going to wait a little bit before we start the next giveaway, because I'm going to change some of the rules, maybe. So I'm going to be looking at that. But yeah, the next giveaway will, continue under the same moniker. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to, we gave away the first one. And, hopefully, Benji Boy, you did enjoy, you do enjoy it when you get it. But, I mean, besides that, guys, when it comes to the Hunt to Giveaway series, I think I want to add a little bit more to it to have specific goals and targets for the next giveaway. So hopefully we get that. Hopefully you guys stick around. There's a lot more content coming. Please like, subscribe, share, because the next Hunt to Giveaway will probably have 75 subscribers as one of the targets to unlock it. But that's still going to be a little bit. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys would want to see. And until next time, guys. Bye.